So we have the elections coming up in less than a month. A new president will be elected. And I feel like as if it's very important for all of us to understand the dynamic and tension that's going on between the two parties, who's really killing it, and what we could possibly expect. So with these videos that I've been coming across, I came across this video at first. It was titled, "This was the worst interview of Kamala Harris." Now, I haven't watched any of this video yet, but one video that I did see a clip of is Obama. He is vouching so hard for Kamala, not only mainly because that's a Democrat, he wants her to win, but as he's vouching for her, he basically begins to belittle black men specifically. He scolds them and reprimands them that you should 100% be voting for Kamala Harris. Now, a lot of people didn't like this because he received a lot of backlash. For the reason being is that you shouldn't be saying to anyone you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Just to give you guys the best context, let's hop straight into this video of Obama scolding black men.
I'm going to go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands
That's Kamala's favorite quote. "I was raised in a middle-class family."
Struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. Who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are is committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act so everybody's got health care, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? I'm not. But, you know, because of Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And when we get in trouble and the system's not working for us, they're the ones who are out there marching and protesting. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not.
He's saying as if that's the only reason why a black man would vote for Donald Trump is because she's a woman.
That's not. This shouldn't even be a question. That's not acceptable.
He literally said that's not acceptable.
Being a man is putting women down. That's not acceptable.
Honestly, that's what Obama said is very unacceptable. The way I see him speaking to these black men right now, saying, no, I'm not allowing you to freely think about the policies presented by both sides. Your loyalty lies here no matter what. No matter if you agree with her or not. Your loyalty has to lie here. You can't leave the plantation. Nah, stay right here. If you're a free-thinking man, it's acceptable for you to come to your own conclusion about any policies that are presented, the way a person speaks, and their logical plan to fix a problem. That's the most important thing about this entire situation to realize. It's not about any of the other stuff. It's not about her being a woman. It's about her being asked a question and answering it directly, head on. Not starting with, I'm from a middle-class family, bro.
How do we get here? You smell good, you look good.
Oh, that's better than smelling
Now,
bad.
this is just a part of an interview that was released 2 days ago that we're going to give a quick look at, and then we're going to get into her supposed worst interview ever for her entire campaign.
Thank you.
I know, you smell
Right?
great, you look great.
I
Do you
appreciate you. That's
feel
very
great?
kind.
It has been a whirlwind for you.
I feel good. You know, listen, we have 23 days as of today until the election, and I am in these streets traveling and
In these
talking with
streets?
folks. We're here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. You know what's exciting for me is like the rally we're about to do this afternoon in states around our country. People by the thousands are packing these rooms, but the thing that I love about it is people of every different kind of background coming together. And there's so much about how I feel about our message and our movement, if you will, that is grounded in certain beliefs, including the fact that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. And it's so important to me that over the course of this campaign, we must win. That's our first imperative, no doubt. But that we build up community,
Yeah.
right? And coalitions. I think that's so important.
One big theme of your campaign has been freedom.
Yes.
Freedom, right?
Yes, yes.
Freedom, freedom, I can't lose. I'm not going to mess up the words, and I
I'm
don't want to get
telling you,
sued
it's
by
so good.
Beyonce.
And there are a couple of versions that she has, right?
I know.
Uh-huh.
Did you call up the queen? Like, how did that work?
She absolutely
go.
gave me permission to use the song. I love her.
All right,
and,
let's not start talking about how she's linked with all this diddly activity, because that's not even in the politics area. But they're over here talking about freedom. When I hear that, I mean, I believe we're already free, especially if you believe in God. You're free in Christ at the end of the day. They're more so talking about liberalism. You're able to do whatever you want to do, disregarding God. That's why you have so much. That's why you have her supporting the transgenderism so heavily. We have clear pictures of it. literally just changing your makeup the way God created you for, for something else. That's what I take from the freedom that's being mentioned right here. It's definitely a hard take, but that's why this is called You Too, because I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. It says this was the worst interview of Kamala Harris campaign. So now before we leave the Obama situation, you guys already understand we're all free thinkers. We should all strive to be free thinkers and come to our own conclusions when something is presented. And then that entire interview with Kamala Harris, let's see the worst interview she's had for her whole campaign.
While former President Trump took the time to speak with Bloomberg, Kamala Harris said, no thanks.
Just for the record and for those people watching on television, the Economic Club of Chicago and Bloomberg both invited Vice President Harris to a similar interview about her economic plans that she has declined so far.
The Harris campaign is also...
The economic plans. See, this is the thing. When it comes to her economic plans, I've read a couple of her things, and her main thing when it comes to economic plans is just giving out money and printing more money. That's the main thing she's using. She's going to say, oh yeah, affordable housing, but at the end of the day, she's just going to print more money and use more money.
Rejected interviews
And
from
then beat around the
CNBC
bush.
and Time Magazine.
Joe Concha is a Fox News contributor, and he joins us now. Joe, good morning to you. So this is an interesting one because she is denying some interviews, but also she's going to be coming on Fox News today, and she apparently is toying with the idea of potentially going on Joe Rogan's show as well. So what do you make of her decisions, what she says yes and no to, and what it says about her overall strategy?
Well, Carly, I think it shows that Kamala Harris is showing she can't do multiple difficult interviews at once, especially when those interviews are focused on the economy.
Exactly.
And that's what the Bloomberg and CNBC interviews would have done. It wouldn't be like general questions like we saw with CNN or MSNBC, like what would you do to lower the cost of living? A question she usually answers by reminding us that she grew up in a middle-class neighborhood, that even SNL is mocking her around because she uses that in her answers so much. But it would, as we saw with Donald Trump, as you just showed at the Bloomberg Forum yesterday, it would be more than an hour-long deep dive into economic policy around antitrust laws or interest rates or trade deals or taxes. And I think Kamala Harris's CPU would likely, short circuit like an old computer if you poured water on it in that situation. So her handler said, no go. But as you mentioned, she then has to go on tonight.
And he's very honest. He said her handler said no go. She's not even capable of talking economic policies. Because at the end of the day, America is a business. And that's how it's always been ran. That's how the tax system works. That's why there's so many businesses. All the businesses in America are literally just the umbrella of the main business named America. So this is why it's much more easy for Trump to get on stage and actually start talking about economics and certain policies to be changed to actually boost the revenue that America is making so inflation can go down and they don't need to print as much money in the case that you're like, all right, we have the ability to print money, so we're just going to print more money and just not really be too tight on all the other aspects of things. And then that's how you just dig yourself in a deeper hole. Like, really think about the economy at this point at the end of these past 4 years. Everything is at an all-time high because there are certain policies and things that weren't being put into place. Now, at the end of the day, who is that affecting the most? The lower class people. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is because at the end of the day, if you're in the 10% or even 5% or even 1%, these policies, yeah, they're going to affect your pocket a little bit, but your lifestyle of living isn't going to drastically change. It's really drastically changing for the people on the bottom. And as that gap increases, it makes it much more hard. Everything is very elusive. But having a business person and someone that understands how to be a leader and run everything is where I see the best bet for America. This is the best bet for America. If you're going to bet on someone, that would be the best bet.
On Fox, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. in San Francisco Pacific time. And that's 30 minutes, no commercials, no edits. Brett will be professional as always, as we've seen in the past, and will ask tough, fair, and germane questions. This will be a make or break interview for her campaign tonight on Fox because she's never really faced an interview like this before. 60 Minutes, she got a little taste of it, but I think this will be a much different story tonight. And let's see how she does when she actually gets these things called follow-up questions, which I'm sure Mr. Bear will engage in.
Yeah, without a doubt, it is going to be the main event. And I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to the economic discussion. Because when you go on a CNBC or a Bloomberg, like you and I, when we go on Fox Business, you have to view everything through the lens of money. And you definitely have to change how you approach topics when you're sitting down for a discussion with a Maria, with a Stu. Can she do that? Joe Concha is saying that would be tough for her to do when it comes to her economic policies, if she can really even articulate them a little bit. Harris resorting instead to scare tactics in her town hall with Charlemagne the God. Take a listen.
It's two very different visions for our nation. One mind that is about taking us forward and progress and investing in the American people, investing in their ambitions, dealing with their challenges. And the other, Donald Trump, is about taking us backward.
The other is about fascism. Why can't we just say it?
Yes, we can say that.
Yeah.
All right, Joe.
Sure, she would love to say that.
Yeah, she would love to say it. Listen, 3 weeks ago before the election, are we completely out of the joy phase and 100% all in to the fear-mongering phase?
Absolutely. I think we have been for some time when it comes to Donald Trump. The problem is if you keep saying those things over and over again, comparing him to Hitler and talking about fascism and Donald Trump, when we saw what his first presidency was like, where those things didn't remotely happen, it's the boy who cried wolf. In this case, it's Kamala Harris and Charlemagne the God who cried.
Hey, look it. I've seen a lot of Kamala Harris interviews, and I have yet to hear a strategic plan to implement any policies that'll benefit America. I have yet to hear it. The one policy that I heard that was like never before even existed was taxing unrealized gains. So taxing unrealized gains is essentially, say you invest money into a stock. Say you invest $200 into a stock. It increases to $1,000. So basically you made $800 off the $200 that you invested. Now, without you ever even taking out the money, without you ever even actually having the money, because the stock could plummet and you're back to 200 or lose it all. She wants to tax the 800. Now, think about that. That's just overall on all types of investment, whether it's property. If you buy a home and it costs $300,000, 5 years later, it's worth $400,000. That $100,000 that you made on that property that it appreciated, she wants to take money from it. Now that's never even been a thing, but that's what she wants to do. And then you think, okay, is that worth it, or just getting affordable housing? But at the end of the day, we're gonna just take a quick look. We're gonna watch about like a couple minutes of this Trump interview that I came across by. What's his name? The Ramsey Show. I forgot his first name, but Mr. Ramsey, he's very educated on investing, building homes, and he helps a lot of people get out of their debt or ruts that they're in financially. So let's take a look, and we're going to see how just in the first couple of minutes, we just start hitting straight policies, logical plans to better the economy of America.
This inflation thing's a big deal. So in the first 90 days, what's the first things you're going to do on that?
Well, in terms of inflation, you're right. People are getting wiped out like never before. I think it's the highest inflation we've ever had. They say it's the highest in 48 years. I think it's the highest ever. And it's because of what they did with energy. Then they topped it with spending with money, that trillions and trillions of dollars that they didn't need. The first thing you have to do is get the energy down. If you get the energy down, other things are going to follow. And interestingly, even interest rates are going to follow energy, because it's going to take that burden off the shoulders of the economy and off the shoulders of inflation itself. Or we would have been dominating the entire world on energy. We have more than anybody else. We would have dominated. We would have been taking care of Europe. We would have been taking care of Asia.
10 to 15% of the entire economy is energy. So $5 gas affects the bread truck who's delivering the bread, and that affects the cost of the bread then. Getting that plentiful changes everything.
We're 5 minutes into this, and we already have an objective goal with steps to get there.
I believe I'll be able to get energy down to 50% within a period of less than a year.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Well, what are you going to do to do that? What causes that?
They're going to drill. They're going to frack.
So now we know the goal and what we're doing to get to that goal economically.
Drill. They're taking leases away, government leases that you're hearing about. Everything, all of those inflated prices are going to come down with it.
I think the other piece of that, and I know he was part
and then he's basically saying that he will reverse the inflation to bring it back to a better state where you don't have to print as much money, along with also lowering interest rates that allow people to take more money from the bank to use it into assets. That sounds like a good deal. It sounds like a way for the middle class to make more money. It sounds like a way for everyone to make more money if they're actually educating themselves on ways to make money through investing.
I personally have experienced the Laffer curve that lower taxes causes increased revenues to the federal government because it heats up the economy. Talk about lowering taxes in the first year of your administration.
Yeah, you probably saw my plan. And I took taxes from 39% to 21%. It's the largest tax cuts in the history of our country.
You think,
it's funny.
You think we can do that again?
Yeah, I think we can go lower. And I'm bringing it from 21 to 15, but you have to manufacture your product here.
And we do see federal revenues go up when the taxes go down because the economy goes.
You saw it with me. So at 39% down to 21%, you would think we'd do half. In the first full year, we did much more revenue in the United States than we did at 39.
He's like literally looking at it statistically as if he's running a business. He's basically saying when he had cut the taxes on the American people, meaning that he taxed them less, he realized that the income of America was greatly increasing. Rather than just taxing people much more or even the unrealized gains of certain assets and still end up making less money as the business entity of being America. Now, I think when Kamala Harris makes that proposal, it is to get the votes of a lot of individuals, just because a lot of people do believe that rich people need to pay more taxes. And if you didn't know, rich people, the 1%, let's just say the top 5% of people make up 66% of the taxes paid of all Americans. The 1% makes up 50% of all taxes paid. So that doesn't seem to be the issue.
That's true. That's true. He did. And cost cutting.
Yeah.
We have plenty of cost cutting to do too, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Through all the videos that we watched, within this one video from Obama reprimanding the black community, saying that you should be voting for us, for Kamala, they're saying that Kamala's going to have one of her worst interviews, which is going to be tonight at 6 p.m. Comment down below if you want to watch that together, because we definitely can. But at the end of the day, this is just politics. I believe if you truly believe in God, you follow God, He will guide you to provision, to a better life, no matter who's elected. But we also do have to recognize the fact, the policies that these politicians are going to be implementing when they get in office, whether it's Trump or whether it's Kamala. And who do you find most trustworthy to lead and run America economically and for the livelihood of the people? So that's something you can definitely comment down below if you got the balls to. You know what I'm saying? If you got the cojones. But if not, you don't have to. Just comment down below any other opinions or thoughts, because I really, truly do enjoy reading your comments. I actually do. I'll be reading the comments. I'm like, okay. Even if we disagree, you know what I'm saying? You're still engaging, and I love that. Smash the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Let me catch you guys in the next one. Peace.